how do you pick winning stocks? There's just so much information out there, and just so many stocks. It's just so hard to figure out, well, which is going to be the winning stock. You have to have a strategy that won't overwhelm you and doesn't allow you to have too many stocks to look at. You really want to focus on just a couple of stocks and then just find that winning stock. So here's just one strategy that I like to use to sort of just filter out all the information and all the stocks and all the assets. It just helps me find that one stock that I want to add in my portfolio. And basically, I look at building my portfolio a lot the way that someone would build a sports team. So if you look at successful sports teams, let's say the Patriots, the Golden State Warriors, these are teams that have won multiple championships over the past decade. What they really do is they build their team around one player. So in the case for the Patriots, that would be Tom Brady. For the Golden State Warriors, that would be Stephen Curry. So what you want to do is you want to find that one stock that's going to perform well, not over the short term or even a couple of years, but over a 10-year span. You want to look at a stock and go, okay, how will this stock perform 10 years from now? If that stock, if you don't believe that it will outperform the S&P 500 index, then eliminate it from putting it in your stock portfolio, because if you don't think that stock can beat the S&P 500 over a 10-year period, then you might as well just buy the S&P 500. There's no reason to own an individual stock. And to buy an individual stock based on short-term movements is kind of hard to do, because short-term a stock can do anything. The only time you really want to play with stock short-term is if you're using some sort of trading strategy based on seasonality or timing. If a certain stock tends to be high in a certain time of year, like energy stocks tend to be high in the spring, then you may want to consider a short-term play there. But for the long term, your window of holding a stock should really be about 10 years, because that's where, over a 10-year period, it's a lot easier to kind of figure out what that stock is going to do. Now, in that regard to looking at a 10-year stock, what I want to do is, first I want to avoid stocks that haven't really been around for less than 10 years. And I know that takes a lot of great stocks off the table, but it's a lot easier to figure out based on how a stock has performed the last 10 years where it's going to be the next 10 years. If a company's been dominant for the last 10 years, chances are it's going to be dominant for the next 10 years. Now, here's a great example. Amazon. A lot of people didn't buy Amazon. Amazon went public back in the late 90s, 98, 99, and a lot of people in the late 2000s said, well, I'm not going to buy Amazon because it had run up so much in 2008. Because from 1998 to 2008, it had gone up 10 or 20 fold. And then people who didn't buy it in 2008 has seen that stock Amazon go 10 and 20 fold upward again. And the great thing is, seeing how Amazon performed the last 10 years will show you how it performed the next 10 years. Now, here's another problem. A lot of people always like to look for the next Amazon or the next Google or the next Uber. And historically, that is very hard to find that kind of stock. It just makes more sense to buy, instead of looking for the next Google, is just to buy Google. Instead of looking for the next Amazon, just buy Amazon, because these stocks are already dominant and they already have a long track record of showing what they can do. And companies like this that are already successful and they have a lot of cash, they can telegraph where they're going in the next 10 years. You have a pretty good idea. Now, Amazon, their strategy is they're disrupting other businesses. They're buying Whole Foods, and they're probably going to buy other physical stores and continue to disrupt other businesses. And they always like to tell you, hey, Amazon was talking about how they're going to start delivering packages to people's cars. So people who don't have a fixed address, if they're going on a long road trip or if they live out of their RV or whatever, they can still get Amazon packages. You can see where that company is going. Whereas a company that just goes public, they're just trying to kind of figure out where they're going to be in the next 5 years. They don't have all their ducks in a row, where Amazon, Google, companies have been dominant for the last 10 years, Coca-Cola and all that. They pretty much know where they're going, and you pretty much have a good idea what that stock is going to do. So picking a winning stock is as simple as finding that star player to put on your team. They're going to perform for 10 years. They already have a track record, and they're already dominant in their field. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.